Here's a question lots of people have. What is syncopation? Well, it's not sin. It's not spelled with an S-I-N. It's spelled with an S-Y-N. But you know, back in 1921, there was an article called "Who Put the Sin in Syncopation?" by a woman named Anne Faulkner, I think it was. No relation to William Faulkner. It was in Ladies' Home Journal. That's when they thought that syncopated beats were jungle music and would drive the white kids just like right off the cliff. Well, that was starting to happen. It was the Jazz Age. Anyway, syncopation is a way of adding rhythmic interest and intensity to a musical line by hitting a note, by stressing a note on an off beat. That's the best way of thinking about it. Now, I don't think about it like that. I just think of it in terms of, here's a really cool thing you can do with the rhythmic background of your music to intensify it, to make it more interesting. So let me see if I can syncopate something. Well, here's a basic way of thinking about it. I'm going to play 3 notes. I'm going to play each of them right on the downbeat, square on the downbeat. This is square music. Da, 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 1 draw, 2 blow, 2 draw. Suppose I do the same 3 notes, but that 3rd note, suppose I hit it on an upbeat. That's a little hipper. Suppose I do this. Then you really hear it, right? Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. And when you have, corny old white men who sit around and talk about how jazz was back in the old days, and go 23 skidoo, which even when I was growing up was incredibly antediluvian, old 23 skidoo. Sounded hip in 1923, but not in 1975 when I was learning the harmonica. Okay, and today maybe it sounds cool again. Okay, Tony Bennett's still around, right? You stick around long enough, 23 skidoo might be the thing. Anyway, syncopation. Who put the sin in syncopation? I don't know, but you can put it in your harmonica playing. My thinking about syncopation is that you have to become a master of it. Now, I can't really do this, what I want to do, with one hand, but here's something I once threw into a video and it seemed to get a lot of hits. This has a lot of syncopation in it. Now, in every case, if I slowed that down, what you would find is though the beat is bump, 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 beats like that, but I'm hitting ahead and behind the beat, and that's what gives it syncopation. It's like taking a car, if you're a mechanic, or if you've heard of this, advancing the spark. When somebody gets a hot cam, or when somebody advances the spark on their car, a hot cam does that, and it makes the car supercharged with power just to the point where then it starts to backfire. Well, the point of syncopation is to figure out, to learn how much you can advance that beat, that stress note, right? How much you can do it instead of In fact, there was one big hit song back in 1974 by the Charlie Daniels Band called "The South's Gonna Do It Again." And it had a bridge in it that went. That's the single best goddamn illustration of syncopation that I can imagine. So go and check out the Charlie Daniels Band. Anyway, it's a good question. What is syncopation? It's "The South's Gonna Do It Again" in the Charlie Daniels Band, but it's also all that old 23 skidooized jazz. Thanks for asking.